All right, welcome to the Explainer. I am honestly so excited you're here today because we're looking at something incredibly special. We're going to step out of that modern, exhausting hustle for just a minute to explore the life and teachings of Baba Farid. Now, if you're not familiar, he was this deeply revered 12th and 13th century Sufi saint and poet, and his verses are actually enshrined right there in the Guru Granth Sahib. But here's the really cool part, and why we're talking about him today. We are going to take his centuries-old spiritual and ethical wisdom, and we're going to translate it directly into modern motivation. We're going to see exactly how a medieval mystic's perspective on life can, well, literally revolutionize how you approach your daily grind, your studies, and just your overall personal growth right now. Okay, let's dive into this stark contrast because it's a big one. On one hand, we have our standard 21st century definition of modern studying. And hey, if you're a student or a young professional, you know this reality intimately, right? It's almost entirely focused on external validation, passing the exams, relentlessly chasing those higher ranks, and collecting certificates just to prove your worth. It is a total treadmill, and it usually leads straight to burnout. But on the flip side, we have Baba Farid's view. Now, he wasn't handing out academic advice or giving you life hacks on how to ace a standardized test. Instead, his focus was entirely on spiritual discipline, profound ethical wisdom, and character building. The source material shows us that what we currently view as this stressful academic chore, he actually viewed through the lens of forging your very soul and your character. So let's move right into Section 1, Baba Farid's core teachings and the foundational principles for a meaningful life. So the crucial point is captured beautifully in one of his most famous quotes. Youth withers and loses its bloom without devotion and purpose. I want you to really just pause and think about that for a second. We so often treat our youth like it's this endless, infinite reservoir of time and energy, don't we? We just assume we have forever to figure things out. But Baba Farid is pointing out a harsh biological and temporal reality. Youth is incredibly fleeting. It withers. His core message here is actually a really stark warning against wasting this vital, high-energy stage of life in idleness or distraction. Basically, if you don't anchor your younger years to devotion and a clear purpose, all that vibrant energy just sort of dissipates into thin air. And what exactly should that purpose be directed toward? Well, it's the pursuit of true knowledge, which in his teachings is referred to as Gyan. Now, our modern world tells us that knowledge is, well, that fancy piece of paper you get at graduation, right? It's something you brag about on a resume. But the source material defines Gyan very differently. True wisdom reveals itself through your character and your humility, definitely not your arrogance or your academic certificates. Baba Farid stressed that even for the absolute smartest, most highly learned individuals, if you lack humility, you completely lack true wisdom. Knowledge shouldn't inflate your ego. Actually, scratch that. It shouldn't just not inflate your ego. It should actually ground you in realizing just how much you still have to learn from the world. So how do we actually pull this off? The source outlines Baba Farid's path to growth. And the really beautiful thing here is that he didn't just preach this stuff. He actually modeled it through his own life. He engaged in rigorous early study, which he then built upon with literal years of spiritual discipline. Let's be clear, this path is not some quick fix or an overnight life hack. It requires immense patience and steady self-control. And most importantly, every single bit of that effort has to be grounded in truth, humility, and love. That is your moral compass right there. Because if your pursuit of learning, whether you're learning coding, medicine, literature, or trade, if it's built on a foundation of truth, humility, and love, you become incredibly resilient. You're not easily shaken by a bad grade or failed project because your foundation is internal. It's not external. This brings us to Section 2, Reframing the Academic Grind, Translating Ancient Wisdom into Modern Action. If we distilled Baba Farid's profound spiritual message into a direct motivational call to youth today, it's basically this. Don't waste your best years. Build character, discipline, and purpose now. Because this stage of life, it doesn't come back. Rather than just telling you to, study hard so you can pass your exams, this perspective shifts the entire weight of your actions. The urgency here isn't about some upcoming deadline on a syllabus. The urgency is about the opportunity cost of your youth. Every single hour you spend practicing discipline in your studies isn't just about memorizing the subject matter. It's quite literally about forging the architecture of the person you're going to be for the rest of your life. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how we can break this all down into a highly actionable 4-step motivational framework based directly on the source text. First up, frame your study as building yourself through a habit of discipline. You aren't just learning math or history, you're practicing the habit of doing hard things. Second, Use the fact that youth is fleeting as urgency rather than pressure. Let it inspire you to act today instead of paralyzing you with anxiety about tomorrow. Third, you've got to pair your effort with humility. Celebrate your progress, absolutely, for sure, but do it without ego so you remain totally open to learning from your mistakes. And fourth, root your work in values, not just outcomes. Let the end goal be becoming a more capable human being rather than simply landing one specific job.
Let's move to and see how this builds in Section 3, Building the True Self, focusing on values over outcomes.
And this brilliantly illustrates exactly what that paradigm shift looks like in practice. Instead of your primary focus being on getting a job or a rank, it shifts entirely to becoming a better, more capable person. Your studying transforms from the dreaded chore of passing tests into cultivating a lifelong habit of discipline that fundamentally shapes who you become. The energy behind your effort, well, that shifts from ego and pride in your achievements over to humility, steady progress, and a real willingness to learn from your mistakes. And finally, how you view time totally changes. Instead of time feeling like this endless, stressful pressure weighing down on you, you start to see it as an urgent, fleeting, and honestly beautiful opportunity to build strong habits right now.
Which leaves us with this final, incredibly important question to reflect on. Based on everything we've explored today from Baba Farid's teachings, I want you to ask yourself right now, what are you building with your fleeting youth? Are you just grinding for a certificate, or are you actually forging your true self? The energy, the time, and the opportunity you have right now are totally unique to this season of your life. Please don't let it wither. Use it to build something that lasts. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and I highly, highly encourage you to carry this wisdom into whatever challenge you're tackling next.